So, one of the things that comes up is when we think about organizations that have more than one team and how that is different than an organization that is one team. How does that look different? How does that feel different? So, when we think about what that means, we're talking about Scrum at scale. So, when we talk about a Scrum team, we're talking about one team, a team usually of 3 to 9 people. And in organizations that are that size, perfect. Yes, you each have very unique disciplines and things that you work on, but you are a Scrum team working towards that one goal. That's a very common approach. But in larger organizations, dozens, hundreds, maybe even thousands of employees, you're right. That's far more than one Scrum team of 3 to 9 people, isn't it? It is. So we're talking about Scrum at scale, which means you have multiple Scrum teams in an organization. It does not mean that everyone in the organization has to be on a Scrum team. No, doesn't say that. But what the Scrum at Scale framework gives us is it takes our 3 roles, our 5 events, our 3 artifacts of one Scrum team, and it makes it so that our teams can talk to each other, so that our Scrum Masters in the different teams can talk to each other about efficiencies, effectiveness, impediments that maybe they can help each other with, so that the product owners focusing on value and prioritization can talk about organization, agency wide prioritization, that they can talk about what they have maybe for dependencies, what one team needs from another team. So the Scrum at Scale framework is called a minimum viable bureaucracy. It is not about shaking up your hierarchy that may exist in your organization. It is not about restructuring your organizational chart. No pressure that that has to be the case. But it is about how we talk to each other across our teams so that we are delivering the greatest impact as fast as possible in the most meaningful way for our communities, our clients, our stakeholders. So, Scrum at Scale, it does have its own rulebook. It is also a very short PDF, whereas the Scrum rules are outlined in the Scrum Guide. It's a 13-page, well, 14-page if we count the cover sheet, PDF with the rules. The Scrum at Scale guide is about the same length, also free to download. It's in a bunch of different languages, and what you'll find, it is less prescriptive than the Scrum guide for how teams interact and how teams talk to each other. It gives you even more flexibility than the Scrum guide for how your organizational culture will play out as the Scrum teams think about how do they talk to each other. I am a Scrum at Scale practitioner, and I love having the opportunity to hear from you about what your scaling experience might look like, whether it's that you have 2 Scrum teams or 200 Scrum teams. But what I really want to also encourage you to do is to take a look. It wasn't this year's Agile Summit, it was last year's. Alistair Jarvis from the American Forest Foundation was one of our speakers last year, and he was talking about what the American Forest Foundation has learned through their scaling experience. They are in multiple countries. They have staff that are distributed across multiple states and provinces, and they do amazing work. And they use Scrum at Scale to deliver the most value as fast as possible. So you can hear about Alistair's experience at our Agile and Nonprofits website. When you go to the resources dropdown and find the summit, you can go to the 2021 6 videos that are there and watch Alistair to hear about his perspective. But also, certainly feel free to reach out and we can see what other nonprofits that are scaling might be inspiration or a great connection for you. I love to introduce Agilists to each other. And so if you've got questions about scaling and you're looking to talk with others who are scaling in their organization, regardless of where they are on their specific journey, I'd love to help make that connection. So be sure to reach out and let us know. And yeah, we'll make some magic e-traductions and let you take the conversation where it may go.